Do you guys think there's a way to control fire?
And once again, Brian's starting up our fucking stream.
No,
I love it. It's tradition at this point.
that was intentional. There was no way that was not.
It's Brian. You never know what's intentional and what's not.
I know that had to be intentional.
I'm brain dead. I'm currently messing with like 3 rings on my desk.
And I have the brain cell.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 20th Archives. I'm here. My name is Eli, the DM/Archivist, and I'm here as always with Jared, Brian, and Casey.
Howdy.
We're on episode 9 of Chapter 1, Shadow Falls, Chronicles of Umaria. We hope...
That's 1 off from 10.
What's 1 off from 10? That's right. We're about halfway through the season. But welcome one and all to the newest episode. Before we begin, let us do a quick little recap of the events that had occurred last episode. Our ragtag trio of adventurers and travelers had arrived at Flexath, where they discovered Seven Sister Thava, his aunt Cattail, and a antagonistic group of cannibal villagers from further within the Dead Mire, the swampland that consumes the southern part of the western hemisphere of Umaria. It is here that they end up discovering more about their situation than they had originally anticipated. After the combat that had ensued with the cannibal tribe, it was discovered that Barun, the entity of the Feywilds that is cursed within Thevin Winterfall, was placed there not of Barun's own volition. That Barun was not, in fact, as ancient as he originally seemed, but simply a child. Anwin then also conferred with the rest of the group, confirming that the only way to understand more about Redwood's predicament and other issues that the party was currently facing, they needed to travel and find the goddess Ithis. More importantly, the partner of her domain, of her second domain, that being Riddles, the god of omens and travelers, who was last seen within the Haven Forest. Or the Great Forest. My bad. Brain. Sorry.
You
I was thinking.
You dishonored my homeland.
I was thinking the Haven Tree and also the Great Forest at the same time, and my brain was like, let's mash the two together. It is also discovered, sadly, that Anwin had, in fact, traveled to the Knotted Rise and encountered Chisel's family, but while she was there weren't originally close to 90 family members, as Chisel had described, as their numbers had been dwindled down to 60 under mysterious circumstances. We now arrive to the next morning. Dawn is just breaking. You all had been awoken but an hour earlier. People are moving to and fro in the areas of the village throughout its many caverns. Thava is up along with her aunt, who looks worse for wear, as it is discovered that she is in fact dying. The both of them giving orders to people as they move back and forth. Anwin preparing their equipment and the necessary components they will need to help the group travel. I would like to know what everyone is currently doing and thinking at this current moment in time.
Thevin is actually going to Redwood and asking for some help, because Thevin's like, alright, Balroon's a little shit. I almost killed Shrub. I gotta make a change. Redwood, can you please teach me some of the basics of this magic-y thing you have going on here?
Redwood was deep in thought of like where the plans are going, where the plans were pointing to. And I think this little break in someone actually interested in the thing he's been fawning over completely snaps him out of it. Okay, what do you want to know? Are we looking at like magic that works with elements? Are we looking with connection or healing? Or what are we looking at?
Just the basics, like how does this all work?
Oh Lord. Okay.
If you would like, for you to understand it yourself, Redwood, in a way that you can accurately describe it to Thevin without making his brain fry on the spot, I would like you to go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Thevin needs to make an intelligence saving throw.
With disadvantage.
And the thing is, Thevin asks this with slight hesitation because he knows how Redwood can get. It's just that little hesitation of, yeah, I want to learn, but I know Redwood.
Okay, now
That's a 12.
we're going to tack on a basic intelligence roll from Thevin.
Okay. It's a
You're
plus
looking for
one. so
12
like
or
that.
higher.
Okay, there we go.
18.
There we go. So, the way that you describe this sort of connection with magic and other things is that the world, you guys know for a fact that the world was created by the gods over 1,000 years ago. The gods themselves had placed their own physical bodies into the world, which imbued it with magic that the druids typically rely on in order to have their connection to nature. It is by this connection to nature as well that allows for divine magic to flow through the land, thus allowing clerics to do their thing. Arcane magic is something a little bit different. Imagine both sets of magic as spools of thread. Constantly never ending. There's multiple threads from multiple different spools, but both are in one category or the other. If you're looking at, are you trying to look at this from an arcane standpoint, from a nature or divine standpoint?
A mixture of arcane and nature in terms of how biology works.
Okay.
And of course, Thevin, in his own mind, or to remember, is putting it in his own, like, hunter naturalist terms in his mind.
Got it. So, basically, the best way to describe it is that magic runs through every living thing. Of course, not everyone is able to tap into magic, but it is a possibility for some if you go through enough training and enough time and preparation to bother to tap in and hone into that part of yourself. Magic flows naturally through the world, through the connection of the divine that was placed on the world from the body parts of the gods that made certain aspects of the land. In that sort of same way, when like trying to create things of the arcane, you've noticed that Redwood no longer has just a connection to nature, but to other aspects of magic as well. He's able to create illusions. He's able to control the elements. He's able to use defensive and offensive spells. He's able to do more things now through a variety of means because he has that tie from nature, but he's able to pull that tie from nature, create his own thread from somewhere else, and tie those together to make a new sort of thread.
I will say, just since we don't have paper or anything to take notes with, I feel like Devin is taking notes, quote unquote, but etching them into bone because that's what he normally has on him, anyways. So it's literally just arcane scribbling and notes written on bones.
Evan.
Hmm.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Oakley dokley? 11.
Redwood. Roll me an Arcana check.
Neither of us have proficiency in that.
Mm-mm. That's a great start.
13.
But you still do better than him.
Well, he has one more. It's better than me.
You both watch and look as the bone that Seven had been writing in glows and then settles. And the original etching that was carved into this bone has become silver. Another metal type thing that you've never seen before up until now.
Redwood, is that supposed to happen?
Not by my understanding, but that is very interesting.
It's like that.
No, hold on. I'm going to take a look at this. And
Okay.
Redwood is going to weave a little bit of that red string around the bone and around his fingers on the first two fingers on his left hand as a sort of way of casting Identify.
How long does Identify take to cast? Are you casting it ritually?
A minute.
I don't think he has spent time to learn it as a ritual. I think he's just using it as an action.
Got it.
Well, as a minute.
Okay. We'll get back to you in just a second for that Identify. Chisel, what are you up to at this moment?
I'm just about to eat.
Well, unfortunately for you, we are also playing Dungeons and Dragons, so...
Well, Chisel, I do believe, would be still trying to wake up.
It's been an hour.
And
Can I learn some ancient wizard spell called Unsleep?
I
Oh,
wish that was a thing.
Called Stop the Snooze. You...
Um,
Oh, go on.
but I do think Chisel would be staying near Shrub, mostly because he can no longer see right now, and he doesn't want to use up the 2 hours just to see. But I do believe he would be munching on some of his mushroom bread, just a little bit of a snack before travel starts.
You are sitting with Shrub, who is just kind of at your feet at the moment, acting as your guide fox, for the meantime. You hear the sound of Anwin sit next to you. You hear, like, her clothes and her armor shuffling as her equipment also falls at her feet. You ready?
Who's ready?
She's talking to Chisel.
Oh.
Well, for the most part, but I don't like fighting. I do it to survive, but I don't like hurting people. And while yes, the blight is basically taking over their bodies, what I think would kill them. I don't know how that works, but it hurts me.
I understand. It's not... Taking a life should not feel good. If it does, then You need to
We
talk
have
to
other problems.
Yes. If it makes you feel better, from what I have studied and from what I have seen, when the blight fully consumes a person, it does not take long for that person's soul and humanity to be lost. It is almost as if the blight replaces that person in their entirety to make it something else. As for the potential group that we may encounter more of that you had experienced when you first arrived, they unfortunately have done vile things to the people of Flexath and to any unsuspecting travelers who go through the Deadmire. They are not kind. In fact, they can even be ruthless to their own people.
But is that because of their nature, or is it because they were taught to do that?
Unfortunately for that, at the moment, I cannot say. But typically, when it comes to a group like that, it is not by them being taught, but through their own choice. I
Bread?
Bread? What?
Bread.
She looks at the bit of mushroom bread that you have and goes, "Yes, I would love some." And takes a small chunk of it and goes, "Now, I understand that Shrub here, your little fox companion, is your friend Redwood's familiar, correct?"
I don't know. I don't know the full story. I think so, but I don't know magic or whatever it is.
Understandable. I will say it would probably be better for Shrub to remain with Redwood during our travels, as she is clearly a set of power for him. As a result, however, we will be bringing my animal companion, who is not my familiar, Dogwood, with us during our travels that you can use to help you navigate. In fact, actually, and you feel someone put their hands under your armpits and lift you up for a moment before
He just
setting
goes
you
limp. Just,
before setting you, like, kind of wiggling your legs so that there's like splayed out slightly, and setting you on the back of some sort of leafy creature.
the image I have in my mind is that they lift him up and he just goes limp like a cat.
Like a cat getting a harness put onto it.
Hmm.
You get lifted up and you sit down on this creature that's made mainly of leaves and wood. And it's rather large. Like, incredibly large. I don't think you actually saw Dogwood previously.
No.
But you can feel that despite the leaf texture that they have and the wood-like texture that they are an incredibly sturdy animal. And she goes, "That might actually be better."
And now
You hear a voice that kind of has a bit of an echo to it as it speaks. What everyone else sees is the crystal that's wrapped in rope around Dogwood's neck glows and pulses with his words as he talks. And you hear a deep voice with this echo respond, "Hello there."
would you like some bread?
I unfortunately cannot consume normal food. I am made mostly of plants.
That's a shame. It's a family recipe.
I appreciate the sentiment. We are going to move back to Redwood and Theven, who are currently trying to identify what just happened with this bone.
It'll happen any second now. It just takes a little bit of time.
You wrapped this thread around this bone and around your fingers, and suddenly it bursts with light. The thread lighting before fizzling and burning and disconnecting the connection that you had between it and your fingers. It doesn't hurt you, but it's still a sudden like flashbang of light. Your vision has spots in it for a second as you blink it away. Suddenly, all the information that you needed about what this was is put into your brain and becomes the forethought in your mind. Thank you. That's
There
the
you
word.
Oh. Whoa.
You good there, Redwood?
You see, what this type of magic does is it gathers information throughout the entire thing, which can take a little bit depending on the size of the item and the amount of magic within it, and then it sort of directly translates that information into my thoughts, and it can be a little bit of a overload.
Aye, alright.
The item that you now hold in your hand is a wand that has a total of 3 charges of the fireball spell.
Oh.
What, so, come on, what is it?
I think Redwood has like the whole train of thought. It's like, this is very dangerous. I don't want anyone to use it. Out of everyone, this really should not go to Theven.
Yes, give it to the blind man.
Well, it's either the blind man or the sadist. Which one are you choosing?
Give it to the blind man.
This is an incredibly unstable artifact. I don't know how you've done it, but you've enchanted an item where it might explode. I really feel like I should hold on to this.
I would like you to roll 7 insight and Redwood persuasion.
Okay.
I think that's just deception.
Whatever you feel like, persuasion or deception, I'll let you choose.
Well, it has to beat an 11.
13.
It beat an 11.
This is incredibly dangerous.
7, you look at Redwood and he says this is incredibly dangerous, and you're just like, okay, yep, I messed with something.
There's genuine fear in his eyes.
Yeah, it's like,
What?
it's like, okay, yeah, I messed with something that I shouldn't have. I touched something that I shouldn't have. I fucked up. All right, my bad.
Redwood's gonna carefully, with 2 fingers, just sort of put it into a side pocket of his bag. Back away
then.
slowly.
Right then, you're the export here.
Basically, to give you just a little bit more information about this, due to Theven's new connection to Barun and his desire to understand, not just from a sort of hunter standpoint, but from a more arcane standpoint, he was able to put that desire and that interest and fuse it into the bone. Now, obviously, because it didn't have a direct point of focus or specific desire in what it was intended to do, it just kind of shat itself out into whatever it felt fit best for the situation, and that's what it came up with. Basically, you gave a command without clear instructions, and so the spell did the best it could with what it was given.
Considering it is a weapon of mass destruction, fits Theven.
which is fucking hilarious. You put that away. You then hear Thava whistle to get everybody's attention. She is still using a walking stick, but you see that it's a rather odd walking stick that Anwin herself put together, where it goes under the armpit and there seems to be like a handle of some sort that allows her to put more of her weight on it to act as a second leg. Basically, over on table here, Anwin made a crutch for Thava to use, and you guys have no fucking idea what it is. It's just a weird walking stick.
They're annoying to use.
I wouldn't know. I've never had to use a crutch before, but
They suck.
but
If it's
Thava's
just the one leg, it's not that bad.
Thava's leg has been completely wrapped and splinted and everything and fully set, so she can't use that leg. So she's currently standing next to Cattail, who is sitting and looks tired, even though she probably woke up only just a little bit ago. And there's a map set on a flat stone surface with a bunch of other equipment around it that Thava kind of pushes to the side and begins pointing out on this pretty detailed map of the Dead Mire. And goes, Anwin will lead you through this trail further up to the north. It will loop you around. You guys will have to go over and back in order to get to your destination from where I was last there.
Hey, alright.
From there, I do not know what to expect. I cannot warn you. But on the way there, the last time I was there, which was about a few days ago, the blight was speckled. You may encounter clearings of it, small portions of it, but it's like a disease that is spreading throughout the Dead Mire. So, be careful. There is a chance that you may encounter creatures that were similar to what we had encountered in the battle. I cannot guarantee, because that was the first time I saw those.
I mean, chances are we are going to find some mutated beastlies beyond our imaginations. Ever since we began this whole quest to save the world, that's happened almost every single day.
You started a quest to save the world?
I mean, essentially that's what it is, stopping this blight.
Okay.
I wish it would stop.
Oh, that's what we're trying to do, Redwood.
I mean, like, I would love a weekend off.
Oh, you know what? The next eldritch abomination that we come across that can speak and actually communicate, you'll ask him. Tell his bodies, hey, can you, like, take these 2 days off?
I mean, worth a shot, honestly.
This is fucking amazing. You guys get more information, basically saying, like, be careful of these areas, because that's where it's more heavily concentrated, and things like that. And you all basically gather the rest of your equipment up. It will probably take you maybe a day max to get to your destination due to how small the Dead Mire is. But there is still the dangers of encountering something that you don't want to encounter. So you guys are basically being extra cautious.
And I think I'm gonna cast that Pass Without Trace again, because
How long does that
Jesus
last?
Christ. It lasts for up to an hour.
Yeah, if you would like to cast it now, you can, but it will not do much for you in the beginning.
I feel like as soon as we catch the sign of something.
Okay. So you have that prepared, basically.
Yeah.
Redwood. You begin to have the spell ready to cast. And as you get ready to cast the spell, you feel a tingling sensation on your arms. It doesn't hurt. It's not painful. It's like, it's similar to like a light version of pins and needles you get when your leg or something falls asleep from sitting on it too long. And you pull your sleeves up a little bit when you have a little bit more privacy. And your fire scars begin to shift and warp and change on your skin to odd, like a mix of archaic, druidic, and divine writing on your arm. The flames, like the edges of the flames that had been made from these scars, becoming this writing. So you still have, like, the main, like, most of the scar is still fire, but it's, the spells take the shape of that flame.
So do I recognize the writing as being arcane? Like recognizing it saying anything?
You recognize, oddly enough, I think you would. You would recognize the druidic, like, you could pick up a few things of like, oh, this is like, basically what's happened is arcane writing appeared on your arm, but due to how early archaic magic is in this world, it's a mixture of druidic and divination magic writing. So there's like, you know, symbols that would normally be associated with like religious scripture and writings that you would find in places like the Great Forest on the Haven Tree, things like that. So you can recognize them pretty easily, but it's a weird scramble. So it maybe take you like half a second more or something to pull that information out to put it to those words. And it's basically just a long wrapping of spells in small archaic font on your arms. But you all gather your things, prepare yourselves, and you all head off. I would say you guys would have resupplied while in Flexath. I'm going to request that you take 2 rations off of your equipment.
Okay.
How many rations would we have?
You should have
10 is
10
stacked up.
to the stack, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't have to change anything. We're back down to 8.
You guys travel, and just as Thava had described, there are patches of places that have been hit with blight, but kind of like a diluted version of it, if that makes sense. So there are areas that seem darker, as if light doesn't reach. Their shadows are longer. Everything looks a little bit more dead. The bog, the water itself, seems a little bit more vile, a little bit more rancid. Continue forward, and at first the plots are very few. They're not super frequent. And then the closer you get to your destination, they become more frequent, and then they become larger. And eventually you hit a gradient before you finally reach like a solid area. Everything in this place has become rot. Pustule-like forms, blister-like, appear on tree trunks. The ground having flattened itself due to nothing being there to create shapes and hidden slight bumps within it. Roots seem to reach out for a sun that will not reach them. Stones are darker in color, moss dead. Insects of all kinds scurry about, infected, glowing purples. there are cracks, small fissures in really dry ground where water used to be. Puddles very evident, like the sort of pool-like dips into ground that has been split, and they glow similarly a slight purple. There is no light that is able to reach here in this space. It is almost like it's perpetually gray. Color has been sucked from everything. The grass, dead, wasted brown. There is no animals moving through this space. There is no proper green foliage anywhere. There's plenty of those same black briar-like thorns that you had encountered from your time and your encounter with the oracles, wrapping around various spaces of vegetation. And kind of like how... And like... I think it's Breath of the Wild that did it, but it was like these sort of rotted vines would wrap around in large clumps and obscure certain things. Anyone who would like to can roll me perception or investigation.
I'll do perception.
Yeah, perception. Natural 20.
12.
6.
Chisel, you do not have contact with the ground or anything like that. You're just kind of riding along on the back of dogwood. So
That's why it's a 6.
yes. You do smell something horrendous throughout your entire journey. It hits you like a brick. It is bad.
What's a brick?
Shut up. Hits you like a stone. How about that?
That's
No, now it's a boulder.
That's a boulder. 7. You look around. You're basically skimming everything. You're getting a lay of the land at this moment.
Snapping off some of those briar thorns and wrapping them up in like leather for safekeeping.
Redwood, with a natural 20. You look around in this area, and you see that these briar thorns, some of them are wrapping around structures, remains of tents tattered, the wood that held them up broken. Areas where there clearly used to be camp and bonfires held during nights and hours of cooking, also encased with these briars. Things that have been... Did the music just stop for no fucking reason?
Did it?
Had enough.
I think
Is
the
it glitching?
I think the music just stopped for no reason. Hold on.
Oh no.
Did you put on ominous music, Jared?
I did add some ominous swamp music afterwards. So yeah. But normally it just stops whatever it's currently playing when it's over.
Application did not respond.
Oh no.
Oh no. Our music is dead. Give us 1 second,
Oh
guys.
no.
Why is this happening? Oh no! Disconnect. Okay. Oh no. Well, our music is dead. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There goes the vibes, I guess.
You can try and use the jukebox.
Hey. Yeah, at this point. There we go.
You guys hear that okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a little loud, but yeah.
Oh. I can't hear anything.
It might be in your personal settings that you don't have it be able to hear it.
That's a bit of a problem.
If you go to audio and video on the settings, on audio video chat, master music volume level.
Oh.
I have it at 30.
There we go. Sorry, everybody. I don't know why it was like that.
I'm good at Roll20. That's my
Mhm.
domain.
Do. You all basically get the feeling of Redwood. You look sorry. So back to where we were. Redwood, you look around and you see. Oh, this isn't right. There's packs and things littering the ground. Carcasses of dead animals. Cows and pigs and things lying around. Almost as if the people who resided here originally left in a hurry. Roll me a history check.
Just Redwood.
Yes, just Redwood.
Well, that would make sense. If it's
11.
Yeah.
You recall Thava mentioning... It was either Thava or Catwood. You can't recall specifically which one. Mentioning that they had been run out of their original home. You think this place was it. You guys continue moving forward, and
Wait,
once...
hold on.
Oh.
This okay. We're stepping into territory that's obviously been taken over. I need everyone to stay close to me, alright?
Aye, alright then. How close we talking here?
I'd say 25 to 30 feet.
Oh, okay,
At
that's
the
not bad.
most.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cast that Pass Without Trace now.
Okay, so everyone now has a +10 to their stealth checks.
Mm-hmm. Can't be tracked by magical means, and we leave no tracks or other trace of our passage.
Okay. You all begin to move further and further into the lands of the Dead Mire. You eventually hitting a certain point, you hear the sounds of something impact and making like a warbling sound. And it's a little odd to see because it's just it basically you guys just hear a whoop 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 whoop, and you look around and you see that Anwin is unable to go any further.
Oi, lass, you alright?
She looks around and goes, I don't. She puts her hands up as if she's trying to push something forward, and she can't. She's met with resistance. And you see, similar to sort of like a warbling water effect of something like hitting water, is coming away from the area where her hands are placed.
Devin kind of goes up to where she is and just like walks back and forth between where the wiggling is happening.
Anwin actually puts a shoulder up against this sort of resistance that she's meeting and tries to push, and she makes a slight indent before suddenly getting blown backwards 10 feet and landing on the ground with a heavy thud.
Well, looks like whatever's in there definitely doesn't want you in there.
Anwin looks up and goes, that is definitely new. That has never happened before. You also notice that, unfortunately, that means Dogwood is unable to cross as well. In fact, Chisel, you feel your forehead suddenly hit something as Dogwood makes impact with it, and you are jostled forward. You don't take any damage, but you just suddenly like hit something, and you're like, "What happened?"
Did we hit a tree again?
You hear
No, something else.
You hear Dogwood go. It appears that there is. Dogwood takes a sniff of the air. I'm gonna roll something really quickly. Okay. Dogwood sniffs the air and his ears perk up. This is an odd smell that I haven't ever encountered before.
No smell. An odd smelly smell. Smells oddly.
Yes, thank you, Chisel. Something from someplace else is here. And then his ears pull back and he growls lowly. As like the hackles on his back rise. Something is here that shouldn't be here. Anwen puts a hand once again on this invisible force field and goes, well, whatever it is, it doesn't like the Fae. Okay. She looks to the rest of you and goes, this means that I will not be able to accompany you and assist you going further.
That's alright. You've always helped out enough. Just give the map here and we'll be on our way.
I can do you one better. Let me see your arrows.
Alright. I hand over the quiver.
She pulls out she grabs the handful of arrows, pulls them out, covers the tips of them entirely with her hand, and you see a glow as she seems to squeeze them a little bit before letting go. The arrows are now metal tipped.
Oh, here now we're talking.
You now get an extra +1 to your damage.
Nice.
She then looks over to you, Redwood, and goes, if I could see your staff for a moment.
Sure.
She takes the staff, stands shorter, her feet shoulder width apart, plants the staff by on the ground by her feet, holds it, closes her eyes, seems to mumble something. There is vines begin to grow out of the ground, not blighted vines, but very basically what I can describe as very fey-like flowers, very vibrant and things like that, and they interact with the maple that is your staff, wrapping around it and becoming brighter in color the further up they travel, and interweaving and intermingling with the red of the maple leaves. And hands it back to you. You now have a +1 staff for spellcasting. On top of that, you can cast 1 second level spell or lower without expending a spell slot. She then looks to you, Chisel, and goes, if I could see your hammer, my friend.
Okay.
Now, what are we talking about? Hammer. Like, the two-handed or just the one-handed?
I just need the head of the hammer.
Here you go.
She takes it, and for a moment you actually kind of watch as she dips for a minute, not expecting the weight of it, and being like, how is such a little thing able to carry something this heavy? And
I don't know. He hit me in the leg a couple of days ago, and that still hurts.
she puts it down.
Just don't.
She puts it down with the handle sticking upwards towards the sky, presses her palm against it, mumbles for a moment, and in a circular pattern in the center on both sides of the hammer is strange writing that you wouldn't be able to recognize, Redwood, at all. You can safely assume it's probably some sort of Fey language of some sort. But it sort of takes this and glows slightly before handing it back to you. Chisel, you now have a +1 to damage with your hammer. On top of that, you are able to do something known as impact. Impact You slam the hammer onto the ground, and within a 10-foot radius of you, people must make strength saving throws. Should they fail, they are knocked prone. The area around you becomes rough terrain. You can use this ability equal to your proficiency bonus. Oh, and also everyone takes a 1d8 damage from the impact.
I thought you just said, like, oh yeah, all of you are going to take a d8 damage. I'm like, oh no.
It's like, what happened? Something attacked us.
You guys suddenly get your throats slit out of nowhere. Just like, and everyone's dead, goodbye.
You would.
On to chapter 2.
So, 10 feet.
10-foot radius. Centered on you.
Or get knocked prone?
Or get knocked prone, and once they also take a d8 worth of damage. The terrain within that 10-foot radius becomes rough terrain. Congratulations, you all got weapon upgrades.
Yay!
You all... Anwin gifts you these boons and goes, one more thing. And she's going to reach into her hair and rip out a few locks of her own hair, ties them up with some sort of thread, and on the thread there is like a strange little charm of some sort made of like clay beads that she holds out and goes, use this, ignite it, and I will know where you are. And that will mean that I can come and get you. Okay?
Even if we're deep in the thing where you can't get to?
Unless it's deep in the thing that I cannot get to.
Aye.
So when you're out, let me know, is what this is.
Yeah, no problem.
She hands it to you. I'm assuming who takes it, Thevin or Redwood?
I take it.
Oh. Okay, Chisel has it.
Okay.
Chisel, you are helped off the canine of Dogwood by Anwin and says, good luck. And she steps back away from the barrier. And you guys are on your own.
Then, who's ready to kill some beasties?
We are going to be stealthy about it first. We can't be caught by whatever we're trying to kill.
Yeah. Who do you think you're talking to?
Someone who's brash and does not take much action into consideration.
And a hunter.
What
Sneaking
does
through the
brash
woods
mean?
is my specialty.
Speaking of, Thevin,
Yeah.
roll me a survival check.
Okay.
What does brash
25.
mean?
Wow, okay. You look around the area as you say this. You notice large paw prints. Multiple. In succession with one another, side by side. And on trees in the area, large gouges as if they were scratched through. Not in the way a bear would, where they would claw up and down the bark of a tree, but sideways, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Seven immediately dips down to some of these tracks. And I guess, can I make a nature check to see if I can try and identify what kind of creature this is?
You may. Although I will say it's with disadvantage.
Of course, because of blight. And that was going to be a nat 20, but instead it's a 15.
You think back, you have very hazy memories of the combat that occurred after your arrival within Flexath. What you do recall is some strange creatures that were large and cat-like, with multiple legs and multiple tentacles that came off of their back. with the ability to duplicate themselves.
And one being thrown at him.
Yeah, specifically because one was thrown at you. That's why you remember it.
Mm-hmm. Theron stands up. Speaking of those skills, we got tracks. Those cat thingies from earlier.
Oh, fucking wonderful. Okay.
Aye. So, let's put that spell of yours to good use and be quiet about it.
So
What cat things? They were cats?
you hear Shrub go, "Yeah, they were like really big cats."
Shrub, down a level.
What? What's
We don't want
wrong?
to be caught by the Shrub. We don't want to be caught by the cats.
Oh,
Hey,
so we're do-
hey,
so-
little fox.
so
This is the part of the hunt where the predators are the ones sneaking, looking
Oh.
for an opportunity to strike.
Oh, okay.
I-
And you watch
If not
as she
friend,
kind
why
of
friend shaped?
you watch as she basically flattens herself to the ground and does like a little shuffle across the ground on all like her belly is like flat
Army crawl.
and she's army crawling across the ground, like physically wiggling her body to make her legs move.
You don't need to go that far, lass. But I
No,
love the
I
effort.
feel like she should be careful.
You mentally are like, this is too cute. I'm just gonna let her do it. Okay, so everyone's being stealthy.
Yeah.
Then roll me stealth checks and remember to add that plus 10.
And that will be a 34.
24.
16. Ay, caramba.
What about Shrub?
Yes, if you could actually also roll me stealth check for Shrub, please, that would be great.
Does Shrub get advantage for army crawling?
No, she does not.
Just the plus
she
10.
is a bright orange fox against a gray backdrop.
31. The army crawl does something.
The army crawl does something.
Apparently.
You all move silently, staying close to Redwood so that way his spell clings to you and allows you to become one with the shadows that surround you and the land. You move further and further in. It becomes worse. The large pustule-like things that you saw on the tree trunks have actually split open the further you go, oozing a weird tar-like substance that has a purple sheen to it, but is pitch black when you look at it head-on. More of those
7.
fissures appear, dark in color, larger. Nothing grows.
Seven takes one of like these stone daggers he has and just dips it in the goo and then wraps that up.
I would actually like you to roll me a strength check.
Okay. $17.
You are met with resistance. You do this and you realize you like poke it in at first, and then it's almost like it starts to wrap around the dagger that you've placed within it, as if it's trying to consume it. And I think you panic for a second before you finally wrench it out. There is some of that weird substance on it, but you're like, maybe I shouldn't do that again.
Mm-hmm.
You wrap it up, you put it away. You now have an ooze-covered dagger.
Yee.
And you continue moving forward. Eventually, there is a smell that interlingers with the smell of the blight. Typically, there's just that general smell of decay that normally comes, like, basically the smell of, like, autumn, but intensified whenever you go into, like, a forest where it's, like, the smell of the leaves dying and things like that. But it is amplified by, like, 10 in this place. But on top of that smell is something sickly sweet that causes bile to rise in the back of your throats. You know what? We're gonna do something fun here. I want each of you to pick me a number.
Oh.
Oh,
What's our range here?
Mean what?
You guys get 1 through 3 for I reroll.
I'll go 2.
1.
1.
I guess I'm 3.
Redwood.
Fuck.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Why is it always me? That's a natural 1.
Redwood, you move through this place and you're looking around, mortified by how much nature has been warped by this blight. I think this actually impacts you the most because as a druid, your whole thing is helping to for like nature to thrive and grow and bring inspiration to people and be like, this is good. We should respect Mother Nature. We should respect the work that has been put into the world's creation. And here, it's all like petrified and infected and dying. Like a wound that has been infected and is beyond the point of like, you're able to like carve it out and clean it. Like, this is full on, you need to just amputate it. You step, and I think you're so caught up in this sort of space of being like, what has happened, what has been done to the land, that you step at a rock that is particularly wet and your shoe slides. You tumble, falling face first into disgusting, stagnant water. And when you surface out of it, you are hit with the smell of, again, stagnant water, the blight, something sickly sweet. You seem to, like, reach yourself up onto driftwood, your eyes still covered with, like, your hair and whatever muck is within the water, and you wipe your face and your eyes to get a good view as to what you're, like, looking at. You look down, and you are resting on a corpse. It is missing body parts. It has that familiar look of infection from blight that you saw on the chieftain and on your way in from the plants. There are sort of large pustules that seem to have been bursted open, and among the other injuries that you see, beyond it just missing body parts, are full-on bite marks of flesh being torn away from bone.
All right.
Boy, you good down there?
I'm gonna need you to roll me a Constitution saving throw to see if you throw up or not.
Oh, great. Yeah. That's great.
You throw
7.
Up. You throw up. You immediately start retching on top of the body.
Okay.
Hearing this, Seven's like, alright, good to know. At least you're alive.
There are
Evan, do you approach?
corpses in the water.
Do you approach the situation?
Yeah, might as well.
You approach the situation.
Chisel's going to.
Chisel, you were immediately smacked in the face with the smell of dead corpses.
There are corpses in the water, and I stuck my nose in it.
Chisel, roll me a con saving throw, please.
Hey.
You keep that mushroom bread in, despite how foul everything smells.
I will not waste mushroom bread. I only have like a loaf left.
I'm gonna need more carrots.
You hold it in. 7.
Mm.
You look out, and what you see mortifies you. Bodies. Yards of them. Stretching out into this large pond-like area. The water, you're not even sure if what's in there at this point is water or the fluids of bodies that have been rottened and, gone through that sort of deterioration process after death, or something else entirely. There are maggots swimming on top of it. There are just piles and piles of bodies ranging from old men and women to children maybe no younger than 10 years old. Their clothes are tattered, they are missing body parts, some are missing their heads. All of them look like they have been, to some degree, hit with this blight, with similar gouged out teeth marks on them in various areas.
Honestly, I'm more surprised at how many bodies there are. How many people live in a swamp to get like this?
If you want to roll me a wisdom or intelligence check, you may.
For what?
Just to kind of gauge sort of what could
Is-
cause so many corpses to suddenly just appear.
Let's
Intelligence
try
or wisdom?
That's a 16 on wisdom.
17 on intelligence.
You both kind of think for a moment. 7, you think, okay, the land is pretty far south. We don't exactly know 100% what the Dead Mire was like before this. Your best guess is that there was more than one village here, but it was smaller than Flexath and had less people in them, which meant that the group of cannibals that you had encountered probably swarmed these small villages and quickly overtook them due to the lack of numbers that they had compared to them. Along with that, unknowing travelers. Much like you guys, people move around all of Umaria all the time. It's not uncommon. It is different, however, because why would anyone travel this far south? What would draw a person to come this far south? So you think that these bodies are like pretty old. You can't exactly gauge how old. Chisel. You think for a moment, and you kind of put some sort of connections together. 7 got infected with Balroons through something that occurred during his time with the hunt that resulted in a scar and all these other things. You wouldn't be surprised if these people encountered something similar if they were a traveler. But more in the case of them being attacked by something, getting infected, and feeling drawn to a large source of blight. And thus falling into this trap. Grub whines at the edge of the water, Redwood, as you struggle to get out of it, as you trudge out of it. And immediately when you come out, she like covers her nose and is like, "Boss, you felt... No, that's foul."
I don't like it either. We're going to get out of this fucking swamp and take a bath.
You know, I suggest you guys get some cloth and wrap it around. It really helps filter things out.
Grub just kind of keeps her paws over her snout as if that's gonna do anything. And
Oh yeah, for Throb, it's not going to really help. For you two, it might.
What's a bath?
oh no.
That explains some things.
Chisel, you don't bathe?
Wait, Brian, no, I know where you're leading with this, and no. No. Jiggle is not ginger!
Wait, what?
So, before the stream, for context, Brian and I were kind of discussing, like, certain things about Chisel and, like, multiclassing and stuff like that, and he proceeded to mention that Chisel doesn't have a soul, and I'm like, okay, but he's a pure being. He's literally like the meme of, like, make it as black as my soul and being like, so milk. And, the reality of it is apparently according to Brian, Chisel hasn't had a bath in so long and his actual hair color is ginger. And I refuse. I fucking refuse. I did not go through all the effort of drawing Chisel for this overlay for you to tell me he's a fucking ginger.
He's not. You already said he isn't. It's just Chisel doesn't know how to bait.
That's fair, but also fuck you.
Just
Pardon?
You missed it when
Oh, good. I can watch the episode.
Yeah. Basically, so that
he
happens.
broke Jared for a second.
Jared is kind of contemplating continuing playing with us right now. Yeah, so have fun with that information, viewers. You continue moving in. Eventually, those briars that you encountered before, when they were in small clumps, there's now like areas that are completely blocked off as if they're created walls, kind of forcing you to change your route a little bit and force yourselves to like move with the pathing that has been created by these briars. And then, not even too far off, you see it. It almost looks like it used to be some sort of a large willow tree. The trunk thick and large. Branches with no leaves on them, climbing high into the sky, reaching for a sun that does not listen to its prayers. The vine, the briar thorns wrapping around the roots that jut out of the ground at random intervals. I'm going to need Redwood in specific to roll me either religion or nature. Your choice.
Is this the Haven tree?
Possibly.
Not this far south.
Oh, I blanked on what the Haven Tree was. I'm looking at the map now. Yeah, no.
6 on nature. Do you want me to roll religion as well? Or
It's up to you.
suffer?
Anything that you feel will help you in this situation.
Could
Anything would help me in this situation.
Okay.
Let's try the religion. 14.
Could we try as well?
No. This is specifically a druid thing.
Of course.
Redwood. You take in this large tree. You squint your eyes at it, almost as if trying to get a better look at it. Has Redwood been this far south before?
Never.
You take a look at this tree. The Haven tree is the largest tree in the world. It's where a lot of druids go to study and to understand and connect with nature more prominently than anywhere else in the world. It is a source of powerful nature magic, and some believe that it actually has a special connection to the divinity of the gods. You're looking at this tree. You're looking at the ground, the area around you. You think that this was probably a place where a second Haven tree and a second Great Forest was trying to take root. And was stopped. But
Oi, you good there, Redwood?
It doesn't add up. The way the tree grows and the forest around it. It mimics the Great Forest, but it's been cut off, killed in its prime, before it had the chance to grow more.
Okay. So, quick questions. What do you think our odds are if we just go ahead and set this entire place ablaze and kill whatever tries to flee?
I would really rather not.
Last case scenario, got it. That's our that's a plan, whatever, the last plan.
That is if we are leaving and we never plan to return.
Do me.
We're never returning to the swamp ever again.
I would like Seven to roll me insight, and Redwood roll me deception.
14.
Despite the
I'm
guys.
sorry, 23. That's
What did you see 14 from?
My deception's a 14.
yeah. We went at the exact same time, and my brain thought I clicked first.
Despite the mask that you watch Redwood instantly like put up in like a guise of being like, we don't want this to spread to other areas of the Dead Mire, there's something deeply rooted there. Both within this connection to understanding that this tree was a minor intimidation of a haven tree. The land was supposed to be a minor intimidation of the Great Forest. But
And you just asked me to burn it.
and you just asked him to light the whole thing ablaze. There's something interconnected there in those threads that is very deeply unsettling and terrifying to Redwood.
Alright, okay. Sorry about that. But honestly, as things are going now, it's a legitimate question.
Again, if we plan on leaving and never returning.
Yeah. It's an exit strategy if we need it.
Having this plan into your back pocket, Grub goes, "Oh, I learned something new that I can do."
What is it, little fox friend?
And Shrub literally takes like a bit of like her fur into her teeth and pulls and drops a couple of little hairs on the ground and makes like a small little pathway before touching her nose to it and lighting a massive trail of fire from the line of fur that she has created.
He's a fuck shrub.
Why did it get so hot?
I'm learning magic and my fox is learning magic.
Well, that's a neat little trick.
So if that's something we want to do, I can prepare for it. I would just signal.
Redwood takes a minute. He realizes he's being a terrible influence.
I think
Meanwhile, Devin just a double thumbs up, like, yeah, keep going, little fox friend.
I think in this moment, Shrub looks over to you, Redwood, and kind of like grabs your sleeve and tugs on it with her teeth in a way like a toddler would try to get an adult's attention. So that way you lean down so she can like whisper something to you.
Yes.
She looks up to you and goes, "If this is like the Haven Woods, or the Haven Tree in the Great Forest, and it's infected, wouldn't it be best to cauterize the wound?"
I feel like it might also be better to take out the source of corruption. If we can take out the source, there's a chance something like this might grow. Not the infection or the corruption, but if we can clear the corruption, then the plants can grow.
So only burn it if things get really, really bad.
The blight is going to be weak to fire, so deal with the fire in maybe like an 100-foot radius of whatever the fuck we end up fighting.
Okay.
Other than that, it's a really cool spell. I'm really proud of you for learning it, but please give me some warning next time.
I just found out about it, if I'm being frank. I just learned about it. Like, it popped into my head, and I was like, I wonder if it works. And I did it, and it did.
I wonder if it works.
I am incredibly frightened, but incredibly proud.
Okay. This is
You have the makings of a gizzard.
The new canonical name. Never ever in this campaign will we call wizards wizards. It's always going to be gizzards from now on.
I will slap the shit out of all three of you if you call them Gizzard in the next campaign. I will do it. Jokes aside, Shrub actually did gain a new ability. Shrub now has the ability to basically create a wall of fire. However, I do not recall the length of wall of fire, so I will say for now, it's basically the original, like, line distance is halved when she...
That's also typical wall of fire is a 4th level spell.
60 feet by 20 by 1 foot thick.
Yeah, so it's
60
like...
feet long, 20 feet high, and a foot thick.
It's half that.
And when do people learn 4th level spells? Like 6th level?
Let me
Depends on the
remind you,
class.
Shrub is a version of Magic Incarnate.
I know. It's just we are technically close enough for, let's say, Redwood to actually learn Wall of Fire.
Oh yeah,
So
fair
it
enough.
does make sense for Shrub to have this ability.
It's an innate thing that Shrub can do. I will say she cannot do it all the time. She has an equal amount of uses to which you use for your wild shape. So
So I could use... Do I use a wild shape charge to use it, or should I just have 2?
You should just have 2. So you should have them equal to how many wild shapes you have.
It's a feature. It's more a feature less than a spell.
Correct.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. Bugs aren't just bugs, guys. They're features of the game. You... Shrub nods, and you guys continue moving forward. I'm gonna need everyone to once again roll me stealth checks. I feel so bad because I am watching Casey eat, and I keep asking him to roll things.
I don't need to use my mouth to roll stealth.
Question, is
I'm
Pass
in
Without Trace
danger.
still on?
I would say Pass Without a Trace is on the cusp of ending.
Okay,
I'm
so
in danger.
25.
Oh!
That's a nat 1.
Yeah.
Let's see what Shrub gets.
Yeah, Shrub does need to roll.
23.
23. You all move forward. And as you move forward, you actually begin to see crude structures built on what is presumably the front of this tree, along with a massive amount of tents. And basically security moving back and forth of these cannibals. You recognize them from their colors and their weird tribal markings that they had on the last time. They are moving around, and the like. You can't exactly see what's going on at the front of the tree because you guys are basically at its rear, in the direction of what they are facing. But you can see that there's a decent bit of commotion, as if because it's still, early afternoon, there's still things to do and stuff like that. But you do see a body of something or someone gets... Like, there's these basically a fence of briars around the area that they've made their home. You watch as you hear a grunt of someone lifting something heavy up and throwing it over the side, which then proceeds to roll into something in down a slight slope. And you guys see a body that is missing its arms, its legs, and its head. So basically just a torso roll down the side of the hill and join the collection of bodies that was in that river from before.
Right. So, you think our beastie's up there?
As soon as you ask that, Chisel,
Hello.
you fall face first into a massive pile of briars. You take...
A nap.
Okay. You take 6 piercing damage and also 3 necrotic damage as you fall face first into it. And it is very loud because even though they are what looks like freshly grown blight briars and things like that, it's the same sound as like dead bush or like dead rose bushes breaking under pressure. So it's very loud and there's a lot of twigs snapping. You hear grunts of surprise. I will say that you guys have maybe a few seconds before someone looks over the edge of this fence to see what that noise was. So
Seven
that
quickly
means
goes
you guys
in.
get 1 action to do something to save yourselves before you are spotted.
Devin's gonna quickly go in, grab chisel, and hide behind the nearest tree.
Well, Devin, we have Mask of the Wild.
True, but chisel doesn't. I'm worried about chisel right now.
Yeah, we can cover fucking Chisel.
With our bodies, we just huddle around him. Like, don't worry, friend.
Bring in the cloak, a little bit of mud, mire, and the
Yeah.
smelly ass water. We're going to use the wood elf racial feature, Mask of the Wild, and fucking cover Chisel.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say then everybody gets to reroll their stealth with advantage.
I'm a size small,
Yes.
so I can fit under them.
31, 19,
Just
I have a natural 20 on there.
Yeah.
natural 20. Redwood, it is more your quick thinking of, oh shit, this is bad, that you take Chisel's cloak, douse it in mud, grab dead branches, cover your guys' selves, and huddle over Chisel to make that sort of, like, shroud of just nothing but mud and disgusting stuff to provide cover.
You owe me so much for this.
You, Seven, look up and you see from the position that you're in, you get like a good view of what's happening over that fence. You see a hefty figure, probably larger than the cannibals that you had encountered back at Flexdath, with a variety of like bone armor made from human skeleton remains, lean over with like this massive stone cleaver with a grunt and look down. Let's see what he gets to see if he spots anything odd. Natural 20. You guys are fucked. That's a 7. You guys are good. You guys watch as he looks around, grunts before walking away. You can safely assume he like some animal like just suddenly died or whatever and keeled over in that spot.
Or another torso nugget crunching something.
or another
Devin kinda whispers.
or another torso nugget, yes.
Yeah. Devin whispers to the others. All right. I think I found the beastie, or at least the beastie guarding what the heck is causing this.
Thank you, Master Hunter.
No need for the sass, lad.
Shrub immediately goes, "Shush! There's someone else coming." Shrub is also like she's like in the bramble briars, but because she's a fox, she's able to like sneak herself underneath in between like all the holes and stuff that the vines make. So she is technically under Chisel right now from where he is in the bush. And
I don't know where I am.
you just know it hurts.
It hurts.
You do take another 3 piercing damage.
Oh.
7, you see the guard from before, or like a guard that looks rather similar to the person that you saw before that investigated the noise, comes back again. Comes by with someone rather odd looking. It is very much. It appears to be someone very priestly-like in their group. It looks like they took the garments of a cleric that they managed to catch, altered the clothes to be something a little bit more vile, torn up, the original holy symbol's gone. Instead, the clothing has been dyed with blood to create their own sort of religious symbols upon the attire. It is very clear from the way that this guard speaks to this individual through tone alone, without understanding the language, that this person is a individual of high status within their tribe.
Can we hear what they're saying, or is it like in a tongue we don't know?
It is a tongue that you do not know.
Okay.
But you watch as they sort of seem to descend something, and they are out of view. And you can safely assume that you have time to get out of this bush before more arrive.
All right.
Right then, let us sneak to a better position, because right now they have the high ground.
It's over, Bananakin.
Shut up.
I have the high ground.
God damn it.
All right. I have a way to understand them, but that also means we need to move closer.
What
Aye?
is the range of comprehend languages?
There's not a range for comprehend languages.
You would have to get probably into their camp.
I'd have to be in earshot.
Yeah, he allows him to understand all languages, so he just has to hear them.
If you guys want to roll me a survival check or a nature check to see if you can get a better lay of the land so you can find yourselves said position, then you may.
I'll do a survivor. We all did survivor.
Chisel, you're...
I'm out of my depth here.
Yeah, Chisel, you're a little like, I am covered with mud and grossness and people's bodies in order to keep me safe from whatever's happening right now. It hurts, but we're alive still, so I'm gonna go with it. Seven and Redwood, you look around and you spot that there is a sort of hillside not too far from the what you could assume to be the entrance of these people's like tribal village area, with briar bushes that kind of act as like an adequate like wall cover that extends from like the area that you're in. It's not too far, but you would have to go around the tree and the fence in order to get there.
Shall we then?
Carefully.
Yes, of course, carefully. Come on, Shizzle, let's go.
I will say Pass Without a Trace is no longer available to you guys. That hour is finished. Sorry.
Can
So,
Redwood recast? Or is it something else?
can you recast it?
I can recast it, but it would be another second level spell slot.
Okay, yeah.
It's up to you.
I'm gonna use my
I'm-
staff.
There you go. One
My
free.
staff gives me a free second level spell slot.
There you go. Free second level or lower. You cast this spell. You mumble it to yourself. You now all once again start up a free hour of Pass Without a Trace. So yes, roll me your stealth checks. Okay. You
We
are
need them.
not doing well with your stealth rolls. Which I find hilarious.
Can I just keep an eye on Chisel to give him advantage?
I feel like the marching order right now is Thevins in front, Chisel's in the center, and Redwood's in the back.
I would say
Like,
if you want to give him advantage, you could, but that would give you disadvantage.
well, right now, because of Pass Shot Trace, that's an 18. So
Mhm.
he's fine for now.
He's fine for now.
I think we will do that in the future.
Okay.
Probably.
So you guys managed to find yourselves behind, adequately covered by this sort of wall of branches and brambles, low to the ground, keeping an eye on the land around you. Anyone who would like can roll me perception checks.
Is this by sight? It
Yes.
probably is.
Yes, unfortunately it is.
You know what?
What the
18.
fuck?
If you didn't have disadvantage, that would have been at 20.
It's still an 18.
That's still
good,
really
though.
good. I think there's a moment where your eyes, like, you're like you want to be helpful. You're trying so hard to see, even though you have no sight whatsoever. And for a moment, you feel your shoulders relax as something from beyond seems to like touch you for a moment, and you get a
No touch.
you get a brief flash of vision that gives you plenty of time to survey the area. 7, you're a little bit further down, closer to the ground, trying to keep an eye out on your surrounding area, not really paying attention of what's in front of you. Redwood. You have a perfect view of the village. It is... They have built crude structures of scaffolding around this dead tree. Now, granted, this tree is not as large as the Haven tree, but it is pretty big. It is larger compared to your average tree. You see that there appears to be a sort of large oval-like hole that has sharp points at the top. Within the center of the trunk, a little high above the ground, which is where that scaffolding seems to lead to. You can't really see what's in or beyond the hole. It just looks like pure black. You also see a smattering of like tents and things. You also see that there have been pits dug into the ground. You also notice a person struggling with their mouth gagged on a stake within a massive bonfire in the very center of this village. It
Would this be why you told me I couldn't get control flame?
It is not lit yet. Also, no, that it's completely unrelated to this. It is not lit, but it looks like they're preparing to light it. It looks like, from the way that people are moving around, this isn't a small village either. It's pretty decently big. It almost looks like the briars surrounding the area were made to be surrounding and protecting this camp. You see, once again, that person in that off-white robes, a mock version of clerical robes for their people, moving through, almost seemingly giving orders to these people. And your best guess with that natural 20 perception I will give you, it looks like they're preparing a ritualistic sacrifice burning.
What is binding this person?
You look... I'm gonna honor on that 20 here. You look and you see that this person has been gagged, they have been blindfolded. You think that this person was an elf because their ears are docked. They are like just completely gone after a certain point. They also appear to have been injected with blight because there is a portion on their leg that is just a massive sort of like spidering of like the blight veins from a central point on their thigh. But they're not... It looks like the injury has been kept to just their leg because above that spot, there is like a tourniquet that's really, really tightly in place to prevent it from spreading upwards. And the thing that's holding them in place appears to be those briars. But they look like they have been made into a bit of a rope, creating a sort of serrated, texture that makes it painful for a person to struggle in moving.
I have a question relating to wording for usage of spell. The briar, does it count as magical and does it count as a creature?
Briars do not count as a creature, but they are magical.
Okay. That eliminates both of the things. Magic missile attacks creatures, wither and bloom destroys non-magic.
I see.
I have a question, and this is completely unrelated.
If it's not related, I am not.
No. It kind of is related, but it also isn't. Do I still have the amulet that let me see evil?
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't remember.
Yes, you do. You haven't given it to anybody, so you do still have it.
Could I activate that to get a feel of everything? Or would that just overwhelm me with all the negative that's around us currently?
Roll me Arcana.
Oh boy.
14.
It would flashbang the hell out of you.
I am not activating that then.
It's not it's just from the vibe that you're getting of this place. You think that you activating it would definitely just be overall bad. Like, I think you realize that you would be stunned for a good bit. And it would be a lot of, and even if you weren't stunned, it would be a lot of information to process.
So do not activate it within camps of evil. Got it.
I mean, you can. You can if you really, really want to, but I highly recommend against it.
Okay.
You all... Now, Redwood, I will give you one more thing in regards to the information of the area that you are in. But after that, that is all I'm going to give you.
Okay.
This is basically me saying, you can ask for it, because I'm not just going to hand you something.
Okay. Basically, you're giving me one more blank piece.
Yeah, I'm giving you one more blank.
How far away is the person?
From what? From you?
From our
the
position.
Entrance? From your position? Would say 60 feet.
Well, that's just beautiful. I'm going to cast Ray of Frost.
Oh. Okay,
What?
we swinging.
I would like you to describe specifically as to what the purpose of this Ray of Frost is. Like, why are you casting it?
To strike the wood and vines beneath the person, to try and, cold to vines, try to kill them, and also, if that doesn't work, the frost and the ice will not allow the logs to catch fire.
You clever son of a bitch. Alright, so in order...
And it's 60 feet.
Yeah, there we go! I'm going to need for you to... Ray of Frost isn't roll a hit, is it? It's just...
It is roll to hit.
It is roll to hit? I will need you to roll to hit, and if you succeed on hitting, you will need to beat a damage threshold with these vines in order to break them. I will tell you that the damage threshold is 10.
I'm 5th level, so it does 2d8.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a chance.
We're saying there's a chance. I've also got a +8 now. 24.
You hit. Roll me your damage.
Okay, boiga doiga. 5.
You do not break away the vines, but you do strike the pit of fire below it. Are you trying to roll this? Are you trying to hit this in a manner that is stealthy, or are you just full on sending it? Because if you full on send it, they will know your position.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I've already said I'm doing it, and
So what I
You
could
already
do-
rolled and you already said you were going to do it.
I can
Don't
cast.
wait. Don't you have advantage on sneaking due to your elf thing?
No, it's not advantage.
what the elf thing is we may attempt to hide.
Yeah, and the thing is, I can cast fog cloud right on top of us to hide us, and we can reposition.
Okay. I will say you will have maybe a quick moment to move from your position before everyone starts in the village starts freaking out.
Panicking. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So pretty much
So,
as soon as Redwood casts that, I also cast fog cloud on top of us.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting it as Redwood sort of weaves that magic, wrapping that sort of from his elbow in a twisted fashion through his fingertips, fires it forward, and then realizes what he's done, looks over at Thevin, who I assume very quickly casts a spell of like, oh shit.
Now, Seven, if you would be so
Yeah.
kind to describe to me what your magic looks like.
Yeah, so trying to think about Devin has been able to use magic before. That's what Hunter's Mark is and Cure Wounds in this current spell. So he's pretty much fusing what he already knows about spellcasting with what he learned from Redwood. But the medium, I guess you can say he is casting it, is now blood, as he quickly takes an arrow, cuts his palm, and pretty much with his fingers now soaked, writes it in midair. So like the mana is flowing through the blood that allows it to stick to midair for a split second as he just writes the sigil for Fog Cloud.
Can I start climbing a tree? Since I can't do anything.
You want to start climbing a tree as the one person who can't use a bow and arrow.
Yes, I can jump onto the people who come underneath me.
He's gonna whack.
Okay, there's a lot of things happening all at once. So, we're gonna quickly sort out the Ray of Frost hit. Roll me stealth. You do still have Pass Without a Trace activated, so you will have a +10 to this. But you also have advantage due to Thevin's Fog Cloud.
Okay. 24.
Strike out with this. As soon as the spell leaves the tips of your fingers, Thevin notices, eyes wide, slams his fist to the ground, quickly draws blood, does his hemocraft abilities, which which is something that you've never seen before. This is new to you. Thevin, for you, it's basically like, oh shit, what do I do to help with the situation? The image of the glyph that you need immediately flashes into your mind, delivered from Barun wordlessly, as you craft it and write it into the air from your own blood. Fog begins to roil over as if it just naturally came from the horizon. Not necessarily dampening the already eerie environment and ambience that you are currently experiencing. You guys can begin moving. Chisel, if you really want to climb a tree, I'm going to need a acrobatics check from you.
I have proficiency in acrobatics, but I'm actually thinking on jumping into a bush and trying to hide.
If you really want to jump into a bush and experience same thing...
I don't know what to do. I am a
Scatter.
blind person who can't see anything, and the only way I can see it is either activating my necklace, which is 2 hours, but also I can't see it due to the fog cloud, or the 10 feet of blindside I get due to adrenaline. So, I don't even know what Redwood did.
I feel
I
like
think the only clue you'd have is Redwood going, "Oh shit, scatter."
I also
Yeah.
think that there is a bit of an audio, like an auditorial thing as well, as soon as the frost leaves Redwood's hand.
It is verbal somatic.
Yes.
yeah. So you heard Redwood mumbling some kind of arcane gibbery gush.
So
So
either I'm going to jump into a bush, or I'm just going to start running blindly.
Please don't run blindly. I think
I would
that's the worst
say
option.
He doesn't have many other ways.
I would make your decision. 7, take your time to make your decision. 7, Redwood, what are you two doing?
After casting the fog cloud, Devin will go up into a tree.
I think in order to keep the spell round everyone, Redwood is actually going to stick closer to underneath the tree Thevin went to. Um, basically trying to keep people in the bubble.
Okay. So you are going to stick yourself close to the base of the tree. You will be covered by the fog. 7, you said you are also climbing a tree?
Yeah.
Roll me acrobatics.
Oh, that's a 9.
You don't get very high up into the tree before people start making their move further in to investigate where that magic suddenly came from.
So since we already covered ourselves in a bunch of like mud and other grimy stuff beforehand when we tried to cover for Chisel, I think Devin will now do is just cling to whatever part of the tree he can and just camouflage himself like a chameleon as he hugs the tree.
Roll me stealth.
That is going to be a 21.
Okay. Redwood, I also need you to roll me stealth.
Yay. 22.
Then I will need Shrub to also roll me stealth.
No.
Yes.
No, my
Yeah.
baby.
Your baby is not free from me.
28.
Maybe she is,
28.
never mind.
I am not free from you. I'm going to run. I don't know what to do.
Oh no.
Are you just going in a full-on break sprint, or are you trying to be stealthy about your movements?
A break sprint would be 50 movement, or I could be stealthy and just take my 25. I'm gonna try to be stealthy,
Okay.
but get as far away as I can.
Okay.
Would he notice when he leaves the circle?
I don't think he would, no.
18, or is that an 8?
It would be...
Left the circle.
You left the circle, so that would be an 8.
Okay.
You start moving. Your footfalls are heavy as you start moving through this fog cloud. They can't really... It's not your figure that they see. They hear your footsteps because you are so heavy-footed and you're running through dead branches and grass. And you all hear the sounds of people suddenly like becoming uproarious and things like that and chasing after whatever the sound is coming from. Chisel, you now have a total of 3 cannibals on your trail. If you would like, I will let you roll survival to see if you can shake them because there is still a hefty fog cloud in the area.
Yes.
And roll me
5!
They're still chasing you. They're still on your tail.
I am not. This is not the environment I was made for.
No, it is not.
No, our poor boy.
You start running and you start moving. What's your armor class?
I have a 14.
Chisel.
Yes.
You run. You run. You guys watch as a archer pulls off a bow from his back, knocks back one of the arrows that you are very familiar with, fires, hits Chisel in the back, and he goes tumbling. He falls. Chisel, you are unconscious.
Not even a Constitution save.
Nope.
Oh dear.
Cool.
I mean, if you really, really want to try and fight it, I will let you. But this is like...
It's one of those things where you're gonna need a nat 20 to pass, isn't it?
I have a +6 to con saves. I may as well try.
A shot.
yeah.
Nat
Nat
20.
20!
You kidding me? Fucking kidding me.
It's the adrenaline. I now started running and I felt the arrow. I am now booking it.
You still take damage, though.
Yes, I am perfectly
yeah.
fine with taking damage.
Okay. You take 12 piercing damage from this arrow that suddenly hits you in the shoulder. You guys watch. Chisel rounds the tree close to the base of it, these cannibals following behind. They're a little too focused on this figure that's moving through the fog to worry about where you guys are at the moment. You see, he is breaking off as fast as his little legs will carry him with his heavy hammer on his back. As he's running. He takes an arrow to the shoulder. He falls. You don't expect him to get back up, but you watch as Chisel struggles to stand, and even, like, with a shoulder movement, actually pops the arrow that hit him in the shoulder out of his back, and just tries to get right back up and start sprinting again. They are going to try and hit you again.
At this point, I assume they've passed me and Redwood, correct? These three cannibals?
Mhm.
Yeah, at this point, Devin's starting to follow them, and he's going to knock his own arrows, start shooting them.
It's also funny. They don't have advantage because they are unseen by me due to the alert feat, and I can't be surprised while conscious. So I'm just now running.
Okay.
Shrub, now would be the time for the thing.
Thing! And you, okay. Couple of things that we have to sort out real quick. Chisel, you got hit once again with a 19. I'm going to need another con saving throw. This time I will give you advantage because of that nat fucking 20 you got before.
24.
Great. Great. Lovely. You take another arrow. You only take 9 piercing damage from the second hit. You take another shot, this time lower down in your back. You stumble. Once again, you pull the arrow out. You keep on moving.
I refuse to fall.
7.
Yeah.
I will say that you can hit only one cannibal.
Okay. Is there a specific one that's been shooting these arrows? Or do you all have arrows? Okay,
There is
so
a specific one shooting at,
I'm shooting the specific one with the arrows.
okay. Roll to hit.
That's a 16.
Wow. Okay.
You're also hiding, so that's actually a 20.
Oh, yeah.
Five.
This is a sneak attack, so that's actually 25.
You fire off a shot. Roll me your damage.
That and that.
You
So
fire.
13.
You
Or
fire.
14.
You fire at this person. I would like for you to describe me what happens as this guy drops to the ground.
Yeah, so Thevin, still like along the tree lines with all that muck, all predator style around him, he takes the arrow, one of those new silver or metal tipped ones, as he draws the bow back, lets fire, and pierces right through the base of the cannibal's like head, like where the spine connects to the skull,
Yeah.
and straight through to the nose.
Nice. So a nice silent stealth kill. This
Yee.
person drops as they are a few feet away from their companions. Chisel is taking these hits constantly. You, Redwood, want to use Shrub's firewall ability.
Okay.
Is that correct? Do
Yes.
you want to use it?
Yes. Well, I could use it as a distraction, or I could use it as a stopping force. We're going to use it as a distraction. We're going to light up the camp behind them.
Oh, okay. So are you basically, as this is happening, are you trying to get closer to the camp so you can light the place up?
We were closer to the camp. Me and Shrub did not take off while like everyone else did. I know I'm not fast. I know I've got like very limited options when it comes to range. So the thing I'm going to do is we're going to use Shrub's ability to basically light the gate up on fire.
Okay. You get close. Shrub immediately takes some fur, spits it out in that direction. Once it makes contact with the ground, she gets a little closer, taps it with her nose, flames roar up in front of the entrance of the camp. The cannibals freak out. They are immediately panicking. You actually kind of, even though the fire is loud, even though there's so much chaos happening, you hear this individual who, now that you're closer to the camp, can actually hear from the way that they're struggling and from the noises that they're making is actually like a feminine individual. And you just hear from the person just suddenly freaking out as flames just burst up out of nowhere. Fog is going on. Someone threw ice at her fucking feet. She has no idea what's happening.
Her toes are cold.
Here's a fun question. Does comprehend language understand gagged?
No.
No,
No, it does not.
No.
No, it does not. But all this in chaos ensues. You all are doing your own thing. You're moving quickly, trying to get out of the way of the cannibals, either to destroy this place or investigate it, whatever it may be. That is where we shall end this episode of Chronicles of Umaria, Part 1, Shadow Falls. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between. We will see you next week for episode 10 on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. EST. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!
Goodbye.